Greetings, I'm KVaS. Today I am going to tell you about the movie The Hunt. 12 different US residents are taken by the organizers of a manhunt to the forest. After finding weapons for the game, begins shooting. Many participants of the interesting hunt immediately die. Remains only a veteran of the army, Creasy, and a simple participant, Gary. And whether they will manage to survive and find the organizers of the hunt, you will learn in the course of a short retelling of this film on the channel KVaS. Athena and her friends decide to organize a project called The Hunt, which involves two teams, hunters and victims. In her office, Athena negotiates the upcoming hunt. One day during a flight, a stewardess offers a man caviar, but he refuses and asks for a glass of champagne with a smirk. The stewardess leaves to pour the drink for the passenger when an unexpected and frightening man appears in the cabin. He informs her that one of the passengers is awake. In response, the elderly man, removing his sleep mask, approaches the stranger and offers his assistance as a doctor. He asks the stranger to lie down on the floor to help him, but instead stabs him. However, the man still remains alive. At this time, Athena enters the cabin of the airplane and stabs the man in the eye with the heel of her shoe with force. This is when one of the other passengers notices that this is still just beginning. Athena cleans her shoes and says that in times of war there is no room for pity. The elderly man takes the stranger to another part of the plane. The man is still alive and screams for help. However, the woman, who is also in that part of the airplane, is rendered unconscious. She later wakes up outside with her mouth gagged. A woman decides to follow a stranger passing by. She ends up in an open field where a huge crate is standing. There are also other people around her who are moving in the direction of the box. One of the men involved warns her not to open the crate because it could be a trap. However, another man decides to open it anyway, despite the warnings, while the others hide. A pig runs out of the crate, and there are also weapons inside for the participants. The woman who was on the plane earlier discovers the keys and removes the gag from herself and helps another participant remove it. No one still doesn't realize what is happening when suddenly gunfire starts shooting through the crowd and everyone tries to hide. A woman stops and thinks she managed to dodge a bullet. However, she soon realizes this is not the case when the next bullet hits her. One of the participants starts shooting in the direction the shots came from, but he is killed. Everyone else panics and hides. One of the contestants decides to run out into the field and suddenly falls into a ditch, pierced through by an iron pole. A man wants to help, but unexpectedly steps on a mine, which explodes instantly. As a result, some participants still manage to reach the high fence. The man who opened the box also runs to the fence. They try to climb over the fence, but one of them does not manage to get out. He is pierced by an arrow. The remaining 3 contestants rush to the gas station. Inside, they meet the owners, an elderly couple who suspect that the people who entered are going to rob them. But the participants explain that they don't need the money, they just need to know where they are. The couple reports that they are in the state of Arkansas. The man asks for a cell phone to call the police. At this time, one of the participants eats candy found at the store. Immediately, she feels very sick, as if they were poisoned. Suddenly, an elderly couple puts on protective masks and throws a smoke bomb at people. A quick gunfight ensues. The woman turns on the hood to clear the smoke, after which the couple cleans up the crime scene and drags the bodies into another room. The woman discovers a wedding ring on one of the victims, which makes her uncomfortable. The man assures his wife that it doesn't matter anymore, as the man was undoubtedly the villain. An argument ensues between the couple, and immediately they hear sounds over the walkie-talkie. The couple reports that they have managed to eliminate all the participants. However, the walkie-talkie transmits that another contestant is heading their way, so they need to be ready. A contestant named Crystal walks into a gas station where she is greeted warmly by the same couple. The woman buys a pack of cigarettes and asks where she is, but notices that the older lady wonders if she will take change. This makes Crystal suspicious, and she attacks the couple. Crystal finds a gun hidden under the cash register and first kills the man and then his spouse. Crystal then checks the gas station premises and discovers the hidden bodies of the other participants. The woman also collects ammunition and necessary items. She leaves the gas station, leaving her jacket there. Crystal spots a car nearby and decides to check it out. First, she notices that the license plates on the car are fake, and then she sees a transparent thread that connects the doors to the explosives attached to the car. Suddenly, she hears a conversation on the radio and hides in the bushes. The crystal is discovered as the elderly people from the gas station don't make contact. A drone sent by the organizers arrives and begins to survey the area. Suddenly, a certain man shoots down the drone by shooting at it and heads towards the car. But Crystal stops him and informs him that the car is booby-trapped. Crystal says that the man acted foolishly, since by destroying the drone it directly pointed to their location. Crystal heads towards the railroad tracks seen earlier, and the man follows her. Along the way, the contestant tells his version of why they ended up here. He says that he read an article about a group called Liberal Elite that kidnaps people. However, Crystal doesn't really believe it. Suddenly, they hear a train approaching. The participants jump into the car and see the immigrants hiding there. The man assumes they are all actors, but the immigrants' lack of English language skills causes Crystal to doubt his assumptions again. Suddenly, the train stops and the military police begin to search it. The participants and the immigrants surrender to the military, who check them out. A man tries to explain to the police that they are kidnapped US citizens, but the police do not understand English and leave. At this time, one of the immigrants begins to speak fluent English to the man. He tells him that he is the only actor and asks the man to calm down, but instead the participant attacks him and hides a grenade in his pants. Later, Crystal is brought in for questioning. The police officer demands to see her identification, but Crystal begins to question the police about her whereabouts. As she is given no answer, she begins to guess and eventually realizes that she is in Croatia. Crystal asks them to call the American embassy. Officers bring in a second participant, Dawn, and both go to the kitchen to eat. Dawn shares similar theories with the previous man. Suddenly, a representative of the American embassy arrives and takes them to a car. On the way, Dawn recounts everything that happened. The embassy representative is surprised by their story and promises to contact the police to find the men who were chasing them. Crystal notices something suspicious in the man's behavior and decides to open the door, throwing him out of the car onto the road. She then gets behind the wheel herself and runs over him before finding a gun in his jacket. Dawn is startled by what is happening and starts yelling at Crystal, but together they look in the trunk, where they discover the body of another member. They also find a map in the car, and Dawn believes they are the only survivors of the hunt. He wants to use the car to escape, but Crystal refuses, stating that with the map they can use it to find the people who chased them and get revenge. At this time, a group of hunters gather in the bunker and discuss what was done right and what was done wrong. One of the hunters, who is a soldier, asks the others to remain silent. However, they all just laugh at him. Suddenly, Athena's voice from the walkie-talkie orders them to be quiet. One of the hunters walks out of the bunker into the forest to recover, but is distracted by Dawn holding a pig in his arms. At this time, Crystal attacks the hunter and kills him. Outside the bunker, people hear a strange noise, and the soldiers start giving instructions to the others, who are gripped by fear. Dawn throws a pig into the bunker, and everyone starts shooting at it. Suddenly, Crystal shoots one of the men and directs fire at the others. One female participant knocks out a soldier and then stabs another woman. Crystal fights one of the men who manages to get ammunition, but eventually Crystal grabs his rifle and kills him. The contestant then kills the last hunter who ran out of the bunker. It seemed that Crystal had dealt with everyone, but suddenly she is attacked by a soldier. The woman pulls a board from the ceiling and hits the soldier hard, though she fails to kill him. One woman remains alive and insults Crystal. The contestant intends to shoot her, but Don intervenes. Crystal asks him to question the woman about her reasons for being here. The woman responds stupidly, and Crystal points the gun at her. Dawn tries to stop Crystal by claiming that she is a woman. However, Crystal questions the huntress about whether she deserves forgiveness simply because she is also a woman. The huntress replies in the negative, and Crystal pulls the trigger. Suddenly, Athena's voice comes over the radio and asks if they were able to catch Crystal. The huntress points the gun at Don, suspecting him of being one of the hunters. Don tries to prove that he isn't, but Crystal gets rid of him anyway. Crystal informs Athena that Don is dead and warns that her men may come after her. The girl then communicates with the soldier, wondering where Athena is. The contestant declares that she will not give up and begins to apply pressure to the soldier's wound. Under the pain, he reveals Athena's whereabouts. Crystal eventually gets rid of him. A year ago, in her capacity as CEO, Athena meets with the owner of the company and they discuss the topic of hunting. Athena declares that the whole thing is just a joke. The owner of the company hints that there are some people who take hunting seriously. He warns Athena that this could seriously affect the company's reputation and advises her to step down from her position. Athena is outraged and asks who is accusing her of this. A short while later, Athena and a group of people are selecting contestants for the hunt, and a picture of Crystal appears on the screen. Athena decides that Crystal will be the one to be her greatest enemy. Crystal arrives at a rich house and approaches the gate. Athena tells the girl through the intercom to leave her gun at the entrance, or else a bomb will be activated. The contestant leaves the gun and enters the estate. Inside, Crystal hears classical music and sees pictures of all the participants in the hunt on the walls. Athena is waiting for Crystal in the kitchen, preparing dinner, and asks if Crystal has dealt with Don, but does not specify if he was one of the hunters. They start talking about why Athena organized this hunt, and the contestant laughs at her as the reasons seem silly to her. Crystal also says that she is not who they think she is. It turns out that the woman who brought up the conspiracy theory against Athena has the exact same first and last name as Crystal. When the truth is revealed, Crystal takes a knife and starts stalking Athena, and the women fight viciously. Crystal attacks her opponent mercilessly, dropping everything she can get her hands on, including the collectible champagne. However, Athena manages to grab it in midair and save it. In the next moment, Athena, from the impact, flies over the fireplace. She then pulls a gun from her bag and chases Crystal down the stairs. In a struggle for the weapon, Crystal throws her opponent down the stairs and descends herself. Athena grabs the vegetable chopper knife and strikes. She pierces Crystal with this sharp object, but Crystal pulls Athena to her, and the sharp blades pierce Athena's body. In the end, the huntress dies, realizing that she was wrong in choosing her target. Crystal then bandages her wound, puts on Athena's dress and shoes, and heads to the private jet, taking with her a pistol and collectible champagne. When Crystal enters the plane, she announces to the pilot and stewardess that she has killed their boss and orders them to take her home, threatening her with the gun. While sitting in her seat, a happy Crystal offers the flight attendant a taste of caviar and comments on how good this champagne is. If you liked the clip, leave a comment below the video. Also put a like if you liked this movie review. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next episode.